Wearing the wrong skin in Marathon will cost you everything. But if you thought you were anything but a 3D worm printed meat shell for a mind that's currently being gaslit by its own talking helmet, you've already lost. While it may look like corporations solved death, they didn't. They just turned it into a death debt you need to pay back now. Say you get murdered and then reprint into a new shell. Sakaguchi Genetics or Traxxas Global throws another zero onto your already sizable bill. You're running to pay back for the body you're currently bleeding out of. To pick the best shell for you, you need to know how they're made, what they do, what they cost, and most importantly, what they're hiding underneath your very skin. Before the drop, the system has to anchor you. A human mind can't handle being uploaded into a plastic body without snapping. This is what we call cohesion fail. I've mentioned in my last video that corporations use memory ballast to tether you to this body in a similar way Clovis Bray gave exos, dicks and vaginas to anchor them to their past human psyches over in the Destiny universe. Go look at the photo of the child in your inventory. Now take a quick peek at that runner you just head popped. They have a piece of memory ballast that triggers the exact same neural response. It looks like every runner is given identical templates for memories. But are they printed over an honest-to-God soul? Or is there a template artificial soul with no connection to humanity? A fake body for a fake soul? Maybe the reality is they didn't save your memories. They gave you a copy and paste past. They've given 10,000 different runners the same mother to fight for, just to keep their cognition runtime stable enough to pull a trigger and bring home that sweet loot. But tell me this one thing. Do you feel fake today? If you got a taste for the high fidelity cosmic horror we dig into here, whether it's the digital slaughterhouse of Marathon or the paracausal nightmares of Destiny, make sure you're synced to the channel. Hit a sub, drop a like and leave a comment below. Even a small little engagement helps bypass the algorithm's filters and keeps the archive running. Tell me what corner of Tau Ceti I should scavenge next. Now, you ready to learn the reality of those shells you wear? Built for dead cities where the air is thick with metallic grit and the ghosts of UESC security. In these airless, irradiated corridors, you know that heat is a death sentence. The destroyer is officially classified as a combat specialist in the UESC threat evaluation. It's designed to seek conflict to justify its massive thermal output. When you kick your tactical sprint into gear, the shell's synthetic muscles generate massive amounts of heat. You're not running. The suit is overclocking its own biomass. In the silence of the ruins, you can hear your own skin cooking inside the Traxxas engineered, Mjolnir-inspired plating. You are a walking furnace, venting your humanity through your search and destroy missile pods, just to keep the rockets firing and firing and firing and firing.
Wide eyes watching. You, them, all of it. Not a threat. It's opportunity.
Vandal is a lightning strike. Brief, violent, and agonizingly temporary. I'd imagine to the Mida radicals, the Vandal would feel less like a scout class and something akin to a tool for architectural desecration. It feels like it is designed to navigate the broken vertical skeletons of the pinwheel and the outpost maps, reaching heights where the UESC security drones shouldn't even be able to find a heartbeat. Don't think of your amplify ability as something as mundane as a speed boost. According to Sakaguchi genetic logs, it's a forced neurological overclock. When you trigger it, the shell's internal cooling systems momentarily throttle your own sensory dampeners. It might feel like speed, but the shell forces your digital consciousness to process reality at a rate your human mind just wasn't built for. The dexterity you feel is actually the suit moving your limbs before your brain has even decided to pull the trigger. The Vandal, you are a passenger in a frantic, metallic reflex. The Disrupt Cannon is a brutal application of gravity well technology. You can just push enemies, it seems, but in reality, you're creating a localized spatial vacuum. In the narrow corridors, using this can cause internal structural collapses. For the runner, the recoil is a physical trauma that the neural sync has to filter out. Otherwise, the sheer kinetic kick would shatter your simulated psyche. The pinwheel, that massive spiraling UESC spire, is a graveyard of runners who miscalculated their heat capacity. Microjets allow the Vandal to dance across the gaps of the shattered colony ship. Every burst of the microjet floods the shell's biomass with thermal waste. If you overheat while 300 feet in the air, the suit enters an emergency lockout to protect the hardware. It stops caring about the pilot. The fall will kill you, don't worry. But you will also die because the shell decided its own cooling vents were more valuable than your trajectory. The Dire Marsh is one of those few confirmed biomes, organic wetland, where the atmosphere is thick with a bioluminescent bloom. In this environment, biological sight is, I'd say, a liability. The Recon shell replaces traditional optics, your own eyes, with the echo pulse. It's not a simple radar, it's a sensory override. When the pulse triggers, the runner's perspective shifts into a wireframe data ghost view. You track holographic footstep trails, glowing remnants of other players. But this feeds a proprietary stream owned by corporations. You have become a sensory organ for a distant AI, mapping the infection of the planet through your own optic nerves. According to Sakaguchi genetic medical logs, the connection between the runner's mind and the shell is a fragile neural sync. The Recon's constant data stream puts an immense strain on this sync. You aren't scouting for your team, you're an expendable probe. Once the AI has gathered enough environmental data through your sensors, the extraction of your consciousness becomes a secondary concern. The shifting canyons are a visual trap, filled with bioluminescent flora that pulses in sync with the planet's electromagnetic heartbeat. To navigate this, Arachne designed the assassin shell not to hide, but to dissolve. When active camo triggers, the weave worm fibers that are the skin don't just bend light, they vibrate at a frequency that mimics the surrounding air. This is cellular dissolution. The runner's physical boundaries are literally being shaken apart to match the texture of a canyon wall. The human cost is hidden in the UESC threat evaluation. Because the shell's physical form is so unstable during a cloak, the cohesion passphrase acts as the only thing holding the runner's atoms together. There's a haunting story in the Arachne discarded assets log about a runner who carried a broken chronometer, a physical heirloom from Earth, just to have something solid to hold on to while their hands were turning into light. If the sync glitches were invisible, the fibers forget the original human blueprint. The runner doesn't uncloak per se, they simply remain as a permanent shimmering stain on the rocks, a conscious cloud of particles that can no longer remember how to hold the shape of a person. The last remnants of Earth's material history lie buried under radioactive silt. For the thief, they aren't just artifacts, they are neurological anchors. This shell utilizes the X-ray visor to peer through lead and concrete, turning the hunt for memory ballast into a mechanical precision. But the real exploitation is internal. Nuclearic Reclamation engineered the high-capacity rucksack to do more than just hold weight. It monitors the shell's inventory and rewards the runner's brain with hits of synthetic endorphins for every high-value item secured. The success described in the UESC threat evaluation is actually an addiction cycle. You're scavenging because the suit has conditioned your mind to crave the chemical reward of the find. The vault becomes a trap where the greed is literally hardwired into your nervous system. You are an addict. In the contamination zones, the atmosphere is a biological solvent. The triage shell functions as the only thin line between a team and total ego dissolution. Through the shareware trait, the runner doesn't merely heal others, they bridge the gap between failing nervous systems. The horror of this shell is the neural sync itself. When a triage uses their reboot gauntlets, they're forced to process the cohesion fail signals of their teammates as if they were their own. You're a biological filter. You absorb the mental static and the physical pain of others to keep the unit functional. To save a life in the contamination zone is to briefly lose your own identity in a shared, screaming network of dying ghosts. Most shells are designed to preserve the runner's ego, but the Rook is built to let it slip away. Optimized for the central core, a high radiation dead zone where expensive hardware goes to melt, this frame is the industry standard for high attrition scavenging. The Rook arrives with a staggering lack of features. No loadout really, no prime ability, and crucially, zero memory ballast. While the shells use personal mementos like shared photo to anchor the mind to reality, the Rook offers nothing. It features only the ghost mask, a low power signature dampener designed to hide a runner from UESC security just long enough to grab what's valuable. The human cost is laid bare in the Sakaguchi onboarding logs. Without a physical anchor to ground the neural sync, the runner exists in a state of permanent shallow consciousness. This is the ultimate form of corporate disposal. You drop into the core with nothing because to the corporate sponsors, you are nothing. A modular software patch installed into a cheap 3D printed tool. This may be the ultimate peel back. In the original game, Durandal said, "Escape will make me a god." In the new game, the corporations say, "Resurrection will make you a slave." Every time you die, your shell is abandoned. That's why the map is littered with corpses. The corporation prints a new one, downs your last save state, and sends you right back out to do their bidding. You owe them for the ink. You owe them for the biomass. You are trapped in a loop of dying and buying, fighting to pay for a life you can't even remember if it even existed. The next time you look at the lucky charm or that photo in your inventory, remember this. The person in the shell next to you is looking at the same thing. So maybe you're not a hero. You're a biomata prototype with a debt that never ends. So which shell are you going to put on today? And how much of your real self is left to put inside it? Leave a comment with your memory ballast shell of choice and let me know if you think any of us are actually going to make it off Tau Ceti with any memories still intact. Sub for more deep dives into the digital slaughterhouse, and I'll see you when the next shell prints, if the passphrase holds.
Wow, this has just been such a pleasure. I'm such a lucky boy. I can't wait to go home and